Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. President Bongbong Marcos has signed the 2025 national budget, but he vetoed some parts of it. The president did not approve over 194 billion pesos of the proposal approved by the bicameral committee. So from 6.352 trillion pesos in the BICAM version, the national budget is now at 6.326 trillion pesos. Marcos said he vetoed some budget allocations because they are not part of the government's priority.
There were calls to veto the entire budget and to revert to a reenacted one. However, this is not an option that we can afford. A reenacted budget will set us back, delay our vital programs, jeopardize targets for economic growth, including our goals of achieving single-digit poverty levels.
The education sector got the lion's share in the 2025 General Appropriations Act with 1.055 trillion pesos. They were followed by Public Works and Highways, Defense, Interior, and Health departments. Also joining the list are the Agriculture, Social Welfare, Judiciary, and Justice departments. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin expressed confidence that the approved version of the budget proposal will not face any legal battles. He even threw shade at Vice President Sara Duterte while defending the president.
He's not a lawyer. He's more an economist, a finance guy, a political guy. Magaling si Presidente. Hindi nyo lang kasi binibigyan ng credit. Kasi hindi nagmumura.
Ibon Foundation Executive Director Sunny Africa says minor reductions in the budget of the Public Works Department appear to be aimed solely at ensuring constitutional compliance. Here's an excerpt from his interview on The Big Story.
Are you happy with the 194 billion pesos decrease or vetoed line items?
Okay, it's kind of surprising it made such a big deal out of the president working so hard because in the end, what really mattered was that super tiny cut in the Department of Public Works and Highways budget. It seemed like the only objective of that, whatever cramming they did, was to try to make it more constitutionally compliant. I think they failed in that regard, but it's not a better budget. It's an attempt to be constitutionally compliant, but the pork, over 90% of the insertion on the DPWH budget is still there actually. So I think it's not actually a much better budget. It was damage control. I think they just wanted to get out of the way so that all the politicians can start campaigning properly in the first quarter. They should have spent more time on a proper budget rather than rush it the way they did.
Your cousin Ed was saying a while ago that yung actually na nabawas talaga sa budget ay 26 billion lamang. Dahil yung 168 billion ay galing pa sa unprogrammed appropriations na lalagyan mo lang ng pera kapag ikaw ay may savings. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, they bloated it's a bloated accomplishment. The 168 billion in unprogrammed appropriations, again, that will only be covered if they are proper savings, new revenues, new sources of revenues. The only real substantial cut they made was 26 billion, and it's not substantial. It's a super tiny cut. 26 billion is less than 10% of the 289 billion that they inserted. So basically, pork was kept. It was just basically an effort to try to squeeze in the DPWH budget, so it's not so obviously a pro-infrastructure budget. But I think our point is, even if they added all of the major education sectors, agencies, SECs, TESDA, CHED, and the DepEd. Actually, if you add all the infrastructure agencies, DPWH, DOTR, and Department of Energy, infrastructure does still get the biggest share of the budget. And I think that is something that can be questioned. There are no hard and fast rules into what's defined as infrastructure, and actually what's defined as education. But I think it can still be questioned that not just this administration's final budget, but even the president's budget submitted in July, but actually most budgets submitted since at least the end of the Aquino administration have violated the constitutional provision on the highest priority being given to education.
Meantime, the trust ratings of President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte continue to decline based on the latest social weather station survey. From 64% in July and 57% in September, Marcos's trust rating is now at 54%. But his former Uniteam running mate and now fierce critic had it worse. Duterte's trust rating plunges from 65% in July and 55% in September to 52% in December. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. In the Philippine Star, President Marcos called on Filipinos to be catalysts of change on Rizal Day yesterday. Marcos led the flag raising and wreath-laying ceremonies at the Rizal Monument in Manila. And in business world, housing prices nationwide declined in the third quarter. The residential real estate price index fell by 2.3% year-on-year in the July to September period. South Korea has started its investigation into the cause of a plane crash that claimed the lives of 179 people. The direct cause of the crash was the malfunction of the landing gear, but the specific reason is still being determined. Earlier reports suggest that the aircraft may have suffered a bird strike, but the link remains unclear. The passenger airplane crashed while landing at the Muan International Airport in the southwest of South Korea on Sunday. The accident marks the worst air disaster in the country in decades after 66 people were killed in a plane crash back in 1993. A former U.S. President, Jimmy Carter, has died at the age of 100. The Democrat served as the 39th President of the United States from 1977 to 1981. Despite facing numerous criticisms during his term, Carter left a legacy of humanitarian works after he left the White House. President Bongbong Marcos paid tribute to Carter. In a statement, PBBM described the former U.S. president as a humanitarian who practiced what he preached. He also said that Carter fought for universal values embraced by everyone, including Filipinos. Meanwhile, actor Piolo Pascual made another surprise appearance in a block screening of his Metro Manila Film Festival entry, The Kingdom, in San Fernando, Pampanga. Mobile journalist Ivan Tarinque has that report.
Hindi lang sa Metro Manila nararamdaman ang excitement. Hanggang sa Pampanga, ramdam din ang buhos sa excitement para sa Metro Manila Film Festival's second Best Picture na The Kingdom.
The energy was electric as The Kingdom took over SM Calabastagan in San Fernando, Pampanga. The crowd burst into applause right after the movie ended, making last night's block screening a truly memorable event. And the highlight of the evening, a surprise appearance by none other than Piolo Pascual. Fans were over the moon as soon as the heartthrob arrived.
So, napaka-personal yung relationship.
Piolo shared his excitement about the film, calling it just the beginning of something even bigger.
Actually, this is a prelude to something bigger. We're just really happy because it's got the attention and the acclaim that it really wanted. So, simula pa lang to.
The Kingdom is an action drama that captures hearts and minds with its unique and unforgettable storyline. This is why many fans who watched the movie no longer doubt why it won awards during the MMFF Kabinang Parangal last December 27.
Actually, it's unique compared to other movies. It's my first time to watch this kind of movie.
Mapapanood ang groundbreaking film na The Kingdom sa mga sinihan hanggang January 7.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.